You'll find times where just placing one tree may not be enough. Instead, maybe you want a whole scene full of trees. To place multiple trees, you can use the tool called mass placement. With objects selected, click on nature. Then over here we have select object. Now I'm going to click on select object and look for some kind of tree that I'm going to place multiple times throughout the scene. I'm going to go here to my page 3, and I think I'll go with the cherry tree that's here. So I'll select on the cherry tree too. After clicking on cherry tree too, there's an option here for mass placement. If I click the mass placement button, it just looks like a green button with a slash, I can click the first place where I want to have that cherry tree. Next, I'll move over in this direction, and then I'll click the next spot where I'd like to have a cherry tree. Notice how we now have a row full of nothing but cherry trees? But we also have a new menu available to us. And this menu allows us to either add different kinds of trees or affect the number of trees or the general look of the trees that are there and replacing. Right now, the number of trees is 5. If I want to add a lot more trees, I can just move the bar over until I have upwards of 100 trees. Or I could drop it down to just having 3 trees available to us. There's an option here for direction. As I spin direction, how the trees will spin so that they are in a different direction from what they were originally placed as. You can randomize the direction. Click on the bar, pull it one direction or pull it the other direction in order to truly randomize the direction each one of these trees is facing. This will give it a more wild or natural appearance to it. You can randomize the spacing along the line, which will bring the trees either closer or farther apart from one another. If it's all the way over to 0.0, they'll be evenly spaced away from one another in most cases if there's enough trees. If you pull it over in this direction, you may start to realize that they're very far apart. Let me adjust the overall number of trees. If I bring the randomized spacing over, they're evenly spaced. Now some trees are closer together and other trees are farther apart. So it just depends on how far over and what kind of spacing that you would like. There's also a randomized offset from line. So instead of keeping them all in a perfect line, they can now be spread out over a large area. And you'll notice that there's an option over here for a plus. If I click on that plus, instead of just having cherry trees, I can pick other kinds of trees off the list. Maybe I want to have this sugar maple. Notice how we now have the cherries and the sugar maples in. If I click the plus again, I can add yet another kind of tree. Maybe I want this small little mountain maple. Now, those are kinds of trees that are available and being spread out throughout. If at any point I don't want a specific kind of tree, I can move my cursor down here, highlight over the tree that I don't want, then click the little trash can icon to get rid of that kind of tree. In this case, I just got rid of all those cherry trees. For this scene, I think that I'll add maybe a couple of more trees. So I'll click the little plus sign. I'll go up here to leaf large and pick one of the larger trees off of the list. Maybe something like either the American sycamore or the black poplar. You can choose any tree that you want. I really don't care for this example. We're just populating the landscape with trees. I'm going to choose one more. I'll go here to menu option number 6. I can see that we have oaks and willows, and they're both pretty large trees. I think I'll pick this Willow 1 Variation 3. Once completed, I'll click on the check mark, and now there's a variety of trees spaced throughout that area. But you'll notice that the command is still active, which means I could click again, move over like this, and notice as I'm moving, it starts to populate the area with trees. And I can fill up the number of items by moving this number up to maybe 90 or 100. See how this area is now populated with all these different kinds of trees? I'll do the check mark, and I'll do that again right through this area. I'll click here, move over in this direction, check mark, do it again, come over in this direction. If I want a more densely populated area, I won't go as far out. If I want them to be more widely spread out, I'll click here and go much farther out. And now this entire area is populated with different kinds of trees. So if you want to place multiple trees, make sure to go to Nature and then select on the Mass Placement button and select the kinds of trees that you need.